Hello, my name is Thales Encortin and I will present very briefly how data mining works. However, most of the times when people search about data mining, what they are interested in is in the whole process in which data mining is just in one step. So this video could be called How Knowledge Discovery in Databases Works. This is the real title of this video. And to show how knowledge discovery in databases works, we present these steps that starts from raw data until we got the knowledge about the data that we have. And when we do this using our tools, computational and algorithm tools, we start from the raw data and obtain what we can call knowledge. The first step is from data, raw data, to target data. So this is what we call the selection of data. Suppose we have lots of information about a certain phenomena and we want to derive some knowledge about this. In this case, sometimes we have data that is not useful, some data that is not ready to be used in a different format. In this very basic processing that we have to do is called selection. Then we get data to the target data. With this target data, we can do a pre-processing of this target data. One of the important operations that we do here is to detect, for example, outliers. Suppose we have these two variables here and this data distribution. We can see, or we can use also algorithms to detect that red point is an outlier. And in some cases, some algorithms may not work properly if we have data which is very different from the entire distribution. So this is called an outlier. We can try to remove this, get this preprocessed data without the outliers. Another thing that we can do here is to detect missing values. Suppose we have this data distribution here. We can use some algorithms to estimate what could be that two holes that we have here. Suppose that we have this estimation using that green line, so we could try to interpolate the other data in order to see what could be the data in that holes. These are two of the most well-known preprocessing steps that we perform in our data, independent of the application we are doing. After this, we have to apply the transformation of the data. One thing that we use to do in this case is to normalize the data, because sometimes we have data that varies from 0 to 1, another data that is a textual data, and the other data we have varies from 0 to plus infinite. Most of the algorithms, they are created to use data in a similar way. One of the steps is to normalize. Another step is to find correlated variables. Suppose we have these two variables here. We can see that they have a high correlation, which means that using these two variables is useless. So what we can do with this? We can apply some transformation in the data to make these variables uncorrelated, and then we can extract the most information that we have. The next step, suppose we have the transformed data, we want to apply, so this is the main topic of these whole steps, which is called the data mining. From the transformed data, we can get the patterns. And how we do this? We can apply several classification algorithms. You will be able to see the description of this video, several data mining algorithms. But in this case, we can apply several algorithms, such as the k-nearest neighbors, or even a decision trees application, or the support vector machines also. So these are possible data mining algorithms or classification algorithms that we apply to the data to obtain patterns. So the data will start to be divided into patterns. And the last step of this process is the interpretation of these patterns. This is not an automatic procedure. The user looks at the patterns and applies the interpretation in order to obtain the knowledge given by that patterns. So the user can look at the discovered patterns, try to see if there is some redundant or irrelevant patterns, and with this thing in mind, he obtained the knowledge from the data. It's important to say that we have all these green arrows, which means that we can return to any of the previous steps that we applied here in order to improve our notion of patterns and also our notion of knowledge. That's why we have such an interconnected procedure here. It's important to say that this explanation about knowledge discovery in databases is based on this main reference from Fayyad and Shapiro and Smith in 1996. Thanks for your attention, and this is how knowledge discovery in databases works.